Hi everyone, Angus Campbell here. Monday the 6th of April 2020. Continuing on with the BSA and the wiring. Following on from the last video published recently where we got the main loom into position and actually quite a lot of components connected up on the electrical tray. But still plenty to do. So first things, well, it's not necessarily first things first. We've got the ignition switch to do at some point, and if I can find it, here it is. So the ignition switch sits on a bracket, so it's suspended behind the side panel. It doesn't actually mount in the side panel, and it sits behind this gusset, secured by this bolt stood on the other side. So it goes behind. Basically, roughly sticks out something like that. So we've got to mount that up, and it's just mounted by one stud on the other side here. But that big dimple there slots into that hole there, so that secures it and stops it from swinging around all over the place on the one pivot. And then it's in the right position then to line up with the hole on the side panel once the side panel's mounted in. So there's that to do, but we won't do that first, because the first job is to change all these bullets to spades to shove onto the connector block. We've also got a condenser to change. This is the awkward bit really. In the condenser pack there. This is the same condenser block that's used on the triple, so it's sufficient for 3 condensers, but obviously we're just using 2. But when we connected these up yesterday, you can see that spade terminal is broken off the condenser. And it could be repaired, but usually they're similar trouble, and I've got plenty in stock. So we can take the rubber cover off, and with a bit of deft spannering, I was going to say, we could try and remove the condenser, but looking at that, I think we're going to have to remove the whole pack. This rubber cover over the condensers sits on a plate that the covers are, the condensers are mounted to, and that plate is screwed at each end onto the main electrical plate. And whatever we do, it's going to be a pig. I think we're going to have to take the whole lot off just to get at it. Apologies, got interrupted there. So, yeah, that's going to be a nasty job. And then the other thing is connect up the lights at the rear end. There's quite a big block on the back here, 5-way separated block, which lives under the light unit, and it's going to be quite a tight squeeze, that, so I'm going to have to probably lift the light unit to connect this up inside that with the end of the loom, and then these will need to be threaded back and connected up as well for the indicators, because I'm not going to shorten that. That can just be routed underneath the seat and hidden away under that. So we'll keep those bullets, etc. as is. Right. So I think what I'm going to start with, actually, the nice, simple, easy job would be to do the spades at the front here, but I'm going to start with this difficult job here and get that damn condenser swapped out, because that's going to annoy me. Right, let's crack on. There you go, there's the rubber cover off, and you can see spaces for 3 condensers, so you could run a spare one on the plate there if you wanted to, but yeah, you can see the top bullet, which is the spade, which is just soldered on as parted company with that condenser. and I think I will be able to get a small spanner underneath that plate there to grab the mounting nut on the other end of this and be able to spin it off. So let's swap that out and get the job done. Right, I ended up concentrating on the back end here, so got the condenser swapped out, nice firm terminal now on the new condenser, and mounted up the ignition switch. So although it's a black bracket, it gives you a better view now of the fact that the bracket goes behind this gusset here, and its dimple is located in that hole there to stop it moving up and down, so that's nice and secure now. And that does roughly line up with a test fitting with the hole in the side panel there. That's not strictly the correct locking ring on that. It should be a rounded one, but it looks as though the way that this is going to sit now is going to be actually inside the panel, not side panel, not flush with it. So I think that's going to be okay, which is fine. But anyway, this switch and the wiring colours are all exactly the same as on the bigger twins, so you can just follow the same wiring up procedure. So that's all done and quite neat and tidy. It's a little tight there, but it's not too bad. As long as it's not pulling the terminals off at the back. Which it's not. One, two, where's the other one? One. Yep. We're all good. A bit tight, but it's okay. Right, I've also clipped off the bullets and tinned these wires, so now I'll crack on with attaching spades to all this lot. Right, next step, I've taken the rear light unit completely off so we can sort the wiring out on the underside, and you can see the sort of issues that we have in that we've got a captive locking clip on its bracket at the rear there, so you have to get the loom over the top of that, which is why you can almost never do it with the light bolted in situ. So we'll get that sorted out, but firstly I thought I'd crack on with putting the spades on the 10 tin wires at the front here, and as I warned about with one of my previous videos, you can plough on putting the spades on there, but if you don't put the insulators on first, then you'll never get them on. So I put the first two on and then just ploughed on and thought, oh, I'll carry on with the spades for now. Forgot to put the insulators on those three. So strip them off, start again. Right, front end of the loom, all done. 10 spades and insulators all successfully soldered on and nice and secure. So now we'll just turn our attention to buttoning up the back end, which isn't too bad a job. And then what I'll do is a quick time lapse of me buttoning up most of the stuff at the front. But it shouldn't be too bad, to be honest, because it's just a case of matching wires on either side of the junction block and just making sure that all the headlight and indicator wires are on the forward side. So that's going to be a bit easier than when I did it on the Bandit, because with the Bandit some of the wire colours didn't match. There's a few other bits and pieces to do. There's an additional wire I need to make up to run from what will be the earth on the block here back out to the head steady, and that's a standard fitment just to make sure the engine is well earthed, because certainly in this case then we've got the all the gubbins associated with the starter motor, and the starter uses the engine as its earth. But other than that, it'll be fine. So let's get the back light on, and then we'll tidy a few bits and pieces up. Right, there we go, all buttoned up. So this is the rear light unit upside down, just nestling on the rag so we don't scratch it. So you can see that the loom has to go underneath this bracket with a captive, well, it's not a nut, I can't remember what you call it now, clip, really, with a simple thread on it. And then we've got the 5-way connector there for the 2 bulb filaments, earth, and the 2 indicators, and it all works out. And the earth wire is looped round, and it has a loop on it to go onto one of the indicator stubs. I found a nut for that. It's a bit wide, but it's okay. We've got a full nut on that, and that's the earth there. So that's got its separate earth. And now we can just turn it upside down and mount it up. And it's given an opportunity actually to clean up some of the back end, because this bike's been stood here for quite a while now, and actually the rear mudguard and the indicators, etc., quite a bit of grime on them, but I've managed to clean it all off, and the chrome isn't pitted, so we're okay. So I'll get that light unit on the right way up and bring you back. Right, there we go, all buttoned up and really neat and tidy at the top here. A bit of a chip there which we can just touch in, but all this lot's covered by the seat anyway. But anyway, that fits, really pleased with that, because that fits well. That'll just tuck around the loop there. We'll just have one rubber tie wrap there. We'll need another one about here. I'll probably just put the air filter cover and its covers on now, and we'll get a better view of what that's going to look like. Right, there we are. Air filter on. So from this side you can see that there's a plate that fits on top of the plenum chamber. The air filter fits snugly on top of that on a groove, and then there's this top cover here. And incidentally, this top cover is original factory paint. It's got a few blemishes on it, but I'm not going to repaint it. It's original, and actually from that you can just about see that the powder coating that's been done on the cycle parts for me quite a long while ago now is not quite the correct colour, but it's good enough. That's the correct colour. You can see that's too light, which we knew anyway. Anyway, that's by the by. So I think we'll probably leave it there for now. I'm just thinking. Well, I'll leave this episode there for now and wind it up, because in addition to buttoning up the front here, which we've got to do yet, we've also got to sort out the solenoid and wiring for the starter. And we're not quite sure about this because I've never seen a bike with a working starter. We think the solenoid fits in the gap underneath the battery tray, and hence this recessed hole here to mount it. But the solenoid has got 2 mounting points, and there is another hole there that's not recessed, but those 2 holes are too wide apart for the solenoid. You'll also notice as well that these bolts are proud here, and that's because originally when we had some pattern battery carriers made up, they were slightly wrong in that they terminated in the rubbers here, and they needed an extending arm going forward because the plenum chamber sits on them. So we've had to modify. But that's not a problem, because what I intend to do is to pack the base slightly with foam, so we can put the rubber seat nice and flat on top, and so the battery isn't going to get damaged by these protruding bolt heads, etc. That'll work all right. Okay, right, we'll call it there. Thanks very much for watching, everybody. Thanks for interest, comments and subscriptions as usual. Hope you've enjoyed this one. Not too much of a challenge really, it's just a case now of matching up the final colours and we'll be there. Thanks again everybody, see you again soon. Cheers, bye bye.